The following is an overview of the Interlead rig reports for the Mid-Continent region. So that's Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. And I'm also going to go over how we can create contact lists for relevant contacts for you using LinkedIn. So again, these reports are weekly, includes a SPUD report for Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, a comparison report. So we look at drilling last 30 days, SPUDs last 30 days versus the same period last year, and then the active rig report. So this is an example of the weekly SPUD report. So we list it by district, and these are by determined by the different regulatory bodies. So in this case, we're looking at Texas, and District 2 essentially is the Eagle Ford, and we list it by operators in the area, what counties they're in, the leases that they're operating on, the nearest city, the activity date, the rig, and what type of wells, and give you some location information on that side of it. So this is coming weekly, quick summary for you based on location to see who's doing what and what's the frequency. How many wells are they spudding in a specific region that we're targeting. The next is the comparison report. So that comes out at the same time, and we take a look at, in this particular case, this was kind of a fairly recent report, and we're looking at the last 30 days. So this is the 30-day time frame in 2019 versus 2020. We obviously see a negative 65% is an example of what's happening in the market today. Things we're looking for in a regular market are guys trending up and trending down. In this particular market, we still see some people trending up. We're also looking for the guys who are trending down the least, help us identify which are good prospects for us. And again, this is a frequency scenario. How many total wells have they spud? So they might be operating 5 or 6 rigs and, spudding 10, 20 wells over a 30-day period. And then we look at the weekly rig report. So we take a look at all the wells spud over a week period, and then we remove any duplicate rig numbers that we have, and it gives you a pretty good idea what the rig count is for the customer. And again, we're focused in areas, kind of what's the district they're operating in, and what's the rig number and the well number that they're operating in. So this is a little bit more around identifying how many rigs that they happen to be operating. So in this case, we've got 5 rigs operating for this customer. And then we can look at in District 1 and District 8, so 1 down in the Eagle Ford, 8 up in the Permian. And then we can look at the wells spud report to see that they, out of those 5 rigs, they're drilling X amount of new wells over that particular period. So that's a summary of the 3 reports that we send out weekly, really looking at quantity and frequency. So the quantity of rigs and the frequency of well spudding. So those are the kind of the key metrics that we're looking for to help out your sales and marketing individuals. The next thing I'll just give you a quick overview is on just how we can help you fill out some gaps with regards to contacts that you might be looking at. So we have 10,000 plus LinkedIn connections, most of them in the oil and gas service and most of them in the sales industry. We use our connections to help identify contacts within target operators. And the example that I'm going to show you is, looking for key people that might be in the well planning or well improvement industry. So the first step is we look at somebody that we identified as being responsible for their particular company to look at well planning, well improvement. So this happens to be somebody in the operations side of it. Because we have so many connections, what we're interested in is how many connections are mutual that we share on that side of it. So that is what we're going to target. In this case, there were 74. We look down it and we find somebody that's in the industry or multiple people that are in this industry of the improvement of well planning, improvement of well performance. So here's a petroleum consultant that we're interested in. Now we click through on that particular individual's contact, and what we see is they have 500 connections on LinkedIn, I'm allowed to see his connections. So I would go in and I would say, okay, let's take a look at his connections. And then within his connections, I want first and second. Then I start working my way through the different key operators that we're targeting. In this case, I was targeting BP or BPX. I'm saying, hey, this is, want to look at first and second connections associated with this particular individual. And then we start to look at the results. So here we see two people at BP, somebody in a continuous improvement engineer, and a senior drilling engineer. So it gives us a couple people that we want to target. And then this becomes repetitive. We work through it. We would go in, look at their contacts, look at who might be associated with continuous improvement, check on them and see who they have at BP. And then we'll accumulate a list of individuals that would be involved in the continuous improvement side of it. So that's a quick, and then ultimately what we do is I don't have it here, but we collect it and we provide that to you. And then you can go through making your connections and calling out to these individuals. So pretty unique way to come up with a qualified list of companies that you might want to target.